the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
All right, we're back here on the Chase Thomas Podcast, where I am now joined by Tennessee first baseman, DH, outfielder. Who knows? He might be a starting pitcher this year. Like, Dalton Bargo is a man, he wears many hats for the University of Tennessee. Is that in play? Can we look out for Dalton Bargo, like Sunday starter? Who says no?
I don't know if Coach Vitello is going to let that one slide, but yeah, you never know.
It's kind of interesting because last year and at this point in your Tennessee baseball career, I'm fascinated by a lot of different aspects to your career thus far, Dalton. But one of the ones that I'm most interested in out of the jump here is that you are a man who, in all seriousness, does wear many hats. Like, you can play first base, you can play third base like you did last year, you can be in the outfield, you can play DH, you can do a lot of different things. Is that something that you always were intentional about in your baseball career, that you wanted to be as versatile as possible? Because shortstop, and that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to be center field, or I'm going to be a starter. Like, did you actually have a different take where you're like, I kind of want to be versatile. I want to be able to play a lot of different things in my college career?
No, yeah. I mean, it's been like that. I've been that way since, I was a little kid, like 7 or 8. I've always been taught that the more positions that you can play, the more opportunities you're going to get as you keep going on in baseball. And obviously, it's helped me out pretty well being where I'm at now. But no, that's just something that my coaches when I was younger have always preached, and something I've believed in, and it's helped me so far.
How did you approach this off season differently than last, with just kind of like the openings and a lot more competition and a lot more I guess a lot easier pass to the field, which is so much turnover from a year ago? How did you approach the offseason differently with that in mind?
I wouldn't say I necessarily approach the offseason any different than I have in the past. I've always been, working on what I need to get better at, but like perfecting what I'm good at and stuff like that. But a lot of it has been like off like character, I guess you could say, is kind of stepping in that leader role this year, and being the guy that the younger guys look up to, and um, making myself be that guy that is part of the heart and soul of this team. And being my junior year and a year under my belt here now, and kind of just stepping up into that role of being the leader and being one of the guys this year.
Is that something that's natural? Are you a natural leader, like a Hunter Inslee, or is it more something you gotta have to learn as you go, and you kind of had to get more and more comfortable as time's gone on?
No, I've definitely always been some sort of a leader throughout my baseball career. Like high school, I was more that vocal, that leader that people looked up to. I was always the one working harder than everybody else, trying to get other guys to buy in with that. And then I think this year I'm going to be more of a vocal leader, kind of on the field and directing traffic, but also being that guy in the locker room that's picking people up, or helping the younger guys out if they're kind of lost or don't know what to do, just kind of helping them out in that aspect. But yeah, I've always kind of been a leader, just in a different way, I guess you could say.
Is there anyone you've already kind of like taken aside of like to get ready for, like, this is a super talented freshman class that's come in here? Is there anyone that you've already kind of been like, hey, follow my lead, this is how things go at Tennessee?
I wouldn't say anybody specifically or individually. I just kind of help them if they have any questions. I just want to be the guy they can come to, and I'll help them out no matter what, and just kind of be there for them. And because we've all been a freshman before, we've all been there before, and it's scary. It can be scary your first year, but I just kind of want to be that guy that helps them through it, and kind of makes it a little bit easier for them.
Was there anything in particular that you've kind of zoned in on, or maybe the staff wanted you to focus on this offseason to really get ready for your junior year?
I would say just being a little bit more consistent with everything, especially at the plate. Kind of keeping the same mindset uh, each at bat. Separating at bat from at bat, and not letting one at bat affect the other, and then kind of separating offense and defense, because I'm going to get more looks defensively this year. So just kind of doing that, and like I said, they've wanted me to step up and be that leader guy on the team. So just um, working on that and working on myself, so that the younger guys have a pretty good role model to look up to.
Is there a position that you feel most comfortable with in the field? Is it first? Is it third? Is it somewhere in the outfield? Is there somewhere that you feel most confident, or not even confident, just comfortable? Like you just feel like that's your natural spot.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt most comfortable at the corner infields, either
Hmm.
third or first. It doesn't really matter for me. But and I mean, I've been working behind the plate as well
Yeah.
this off season. So I mean, I've always felt comfortable there. But any of those three are my most comfortable. But after getting reps in the outfield, it's nothing but reading the fly ball off the bat.
I like it. Is so when you think about the batting order, where do you feel most comfortable? Because like there's some guys who, I mean, like this year's lineup, I'm really curious to see what it looks like starting next weekend. But is there some guys are like, I need to be in the three hole, I need to be a leadoff guy. There's some it just for whatever reason they're more comfortable in certain parts of the order. Is there a portion of the order that you've always felt more comfortable in?
Growing up, I've always kind of been a middle of the bat or middle of the
Mm,
lineup kind of bat, that 2 through kind of 6 area, but, no, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I just wanna be in the lineup and whatever, order works best for our group and the best 9 that we get out there, and, wherever I fall into there, I'm gonna go with it and do the best I can.
You were a part of the DH rotation last year on the title team here at Tennessee, and I'm curious from your experience, what was that like, staying ready and not knowing when you were going to get the call, when you were going to go in, and did that help you in the end? It's like, hey, you always have to stay ready. You, Reese, and Cannon, and
Mhm.
everybody there, Colby. Was that beneficial ultimately that you were that the DH that kind of rotation? You just like had to stay ready like that.
No, yeah, it's definitely helped me, in the long run and the bigger picture looking at it. I mean, it was definitely tough in the moment just because it
Hmm.
was kind of like a guessing game of
Yeah.
but it was I mean, then again, like, whoever was got the call that day, like, the rest of us had their back and were ready to go, and, if our name got called, but we always wanted to see our brother succeed, so, but I think in the end, it helped all of us, a pretty good amount.
Do you approach the game day differently if you're a DH versus playing in the field? Is it more pressure because you're like my moments are I get three guaranteed just about and like at the plate and you're not gonna be able to make plays in the field. Is it just a different mindset or do you go into it the same way whether you're a DH or you're doing both?
I try to go in the same way. The harder thing is during the game, while we're on defense, is kind of separating that offense from defense when you're not able to go out and play defense is more the harder thing. But no,
Mm,
before game preparation, it's all kind of the same. I mean, I got the same routine no matter if I'm in the lineup, DHing in the field, anything like that. So it's just, and baseball is a lot about routine. People
mm.
call superstitious or whatever, but I like to call it routine. So it's kind of the same each day.
Do you have any like funny rituals or things that you swear by on game day?
I put my socks on this in the same order. I usually get dressed in the same order for everything. Tie my shoes
Okay.
the same order. And I usually try to eat like the same meals for game days, if or whatever's working at that point in time. That's
Okay.
I'll stick to that. But other than
What are you
that,
going with? What's been the most consistent?
um, last year was a lot of like if we were at home, it was Dos Bros for lunch.
Okay.
So that pretty good place. But it'll kind of just depend on my mood and what's working for me at that point in time.
Where do you think you've improved the most from the time you first arrived at Tennessee to right now, a week and a half before opening day?
I would say on the mental side of the game more
Mm,
than anything. That was kind of always my biggest downfall growing up. I was really hard on myself and always expect a lot of myself, and sometimes I was too way too hard on myself. But I think um, getting with some sports psychologists and stuff like that, I've really improved on that side of things and kind of getting back to where it's just you're playing a little kids game. I mean, you got to think you're playing a little kids game, and
mm,
I'm 20 years old, and so you got to remember that. And I think that's kind of what's helped me a lot with it.
I love that. When you look at, we mentioned here at the top of like a lot of the super talented freshman class that's come in here, Dalton, that a lot of Tennessee fans are excited to see mix in with the vets like yourself this season. Is there anyone particular that from this fall and winter that you've seen and you're like, I'm really excited about these guys?
Yeah, one that really stands out is actually a pitcher, Teegan Kuhns.
Mm.
Really talented freshman right-handed pitcher. He's got he's got a bright future ahead of him, especially he needs to fill out a little bit, and I give him some stuff about that. But he's really good. He's got good stuff. He's already got good presence and holds himself well on the mound as a freshman. And another two are Jay Abernathy, who's got really all skills you want in a player, and then Levi Clark, who really showed out with the bat. And I think those two freshmen they're gonna get a lot of at bats, and all three of them are gonna get a lot of time with us this year on the field. And I'm really excited to see what they can do.
What do you want to do differently at the plate this year when you're going back and watching film from last year and thinking about like how I can get better here? Is it just how you attack early in the count? Is there things that like you want to hit for more power? You think about your launch angle a little bit more. What have you looked at that you really want to? Because you're a really good hitter, and I've compared you to like it's kind of in that Jared Dickey zone where I just think you are really good at always having good at bats, and just you're a hard guy to get out. And I just kind of wonder what's that next step? What have you looked at this offseason that you're like, I want to do this a little bit differently based on what I saw last year?
One thing I really want to do differently is cut down on the strikeouts. I'd say
Mm.
I think that's my biggest downfall. But I think what's going to help me do that is allowing myself to be free and easy, and not. Because there would be times where I would get tense, and that's when I would overswing at pitches. But I think the biggest thing that's going to help me this year is if I just stay free and easy. And I've always had really good hands, so just letting my hands work and just putting barrel on the baseball more consistently, and I think that'll really help me.
What are you most excited about for this year? What are you most excited about for Tennessee baseball in 2025?
Just to see how we compete this year, because especially after last year and winning the national championship, and then we got about half the roster this year is new guys, so it'll
Hmm.
be pretty fun to see how those guys kind of fit in. And I mean, from the inter squads and all that stuff, like they all fit in really well, and we've all meshed really well and came together. And um, so it'll be really fun to see how we compete, especially with how much talent we have this year.
What's the most underrated thing that you see with Tony Vitello that makes him an elite head coach that the fans might not see or national folks might not see?
Just how much he cares and loves us. And I mean, he kind of acts like our dad every once in a while, and kind of that father figure when we're away from home. But he loves each and every one of us, and I mean, he'll obviously show it differently. And but he'll show it on the field. Some people just think he's crazy when he goes crazy on the field, but no, he's fighting for us, and he's trying to protect us. And um, he just cares for us so much.
I love it. Do you ever want to change numbers? Is there a favorite number for you? Like if you could have any number at Tennessee, or do you have it right now?
So my first ever baseball number was actually 16,
Okay.
and then when I got older, I changed it to 6.
Okay.
But my first option when I got to Tennessee was 16.
Okay.
Yes.
Why'd you switch from 16 to 6?
Um, when I was younger, I was the bat boy at Kansas State when I was 5,
Okay.
and one of the guys that like was kind of my favorite on that team wore number 6, so that's
Uh-huh.
kind of why I wore it. Yeah,
Are you a big Chiefs guy?
I am a big Chiefs guy.
How do you think it's going to go on Sunday?
Hopefully we pull it out. I
Yeah.
know a lot of the country aren't really Chiefs fans. Think the refs get them, but I hope we pull it out. I really do.
I think three-peat's special. I don't know if you'll see
Yeah,
it again. It's
it'll
almost
be
it's
pretty
impossible
cool.
in the NFL to pull off a
Yeah,
three-peat, and to do it for the first time ever would be pretty amazing.
yeah, for sure.
I love it. Well, Dalton, this has been fantastic. I greatly appreciate you making the time here tonight. I'm excited to see you in the squad here a week and a half from now, back on the diamond at LNS. Are you ready for the like? How crazy is it with the new construction and everything? Like, it's going to be a madhouse soon
Yeah,
enough.
no, it's gonna be crazy. We get a lot of fans there. We're
Yeah.
gonna get a lot more fans, and it'll be loud per usual. But
Hmm.
I'm ready to see what it looks like filled up with all the construction's done.
I love it. Dalton Bargo, I appreciate the time tonight. Good luck this season. You're going to do great at Tennessee this year, and I'm excited to see what year 2 has in store for you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.